for however long we haven't demonstrated for, nearly the whole of this year, I kind of feel a bit rusty. And so I thought I'd just green up a few bits first. And in here, I got some leylandi, some lovely variegated euonymus, 2 types of senecio, and these fabulous phormium leaves, which I've actually, so the senecio is out of my mum's garden, and the leylandi, the conifer, it's very kindly donated by the village. I just do a little bit of tidying every now and again. Now I've got some lovely sweet smelling Rosmarinus officinalis, so supposedly named after the Virgin Mary, one for its lovely pale blue flowers, and also because of its sweet, sweet smell. So I'm just adding the rosemary in. Oh, let's put you off the side there. So going to add the rosemary in parts throughout the design. And it's quite strange demonstrating without an audience and without anybody participating, because I quite like a bit of heckling. Well, not necessarily heckling, but just a little bit of feedback or chat, or just so I know you're there. So it's quite strange for it all to be very quiet and for me to just be getting on with it. I'm actually in my workspace, so we've blocked off all the mess behind me, and I was saying earlier, I have my brother here from Colombia, and so he has been an invaluable help to me today, blocking everything off, creating a podium for my phone to be attached to so that I can demonstrate with my phone recording rather than my laptop recording, because I actually find that the phone picture quality is far, far better than a laptop. But anyway, I digress. So it's lovely. I could just chuck everything on the floor and nobody can see it. It's fabulous. So putting another block of phormium in here. These lovely, I should have found out the variety for you all, but I was a little busy today. So this lovely phormium that is from my mum's garden. And with the rosemary to either side. Now I have, it's Christmas, so I had to have some glitter birch. So this beautiful platinum glitter birch, which is a beautiful colour, and nice and delicate against the strong upright forms of the phormium. So these delicate branches of the betula, just going in on the edges there as well. Oh, it kind of takes me back to practicing for my demonstrating exam. So I'd stand here giving myself a little demonstration. So yeah, it reminds me of that. Suddenly just kind of flown back to me. So there we are. So there is the birch in amongst the striking phormium leaves. And then some flowers. So the lovely strong eustoma, and I always tend to use the piccolo white variety of the eustoma because I find it holds up so much better in Oasis. From doing all the wedding work that I do, you get to practice quite a lot with all the different varieties. And yes, the piccolo varieties of the eustoma are far, far stronger than all of the doubles and everything else. The doubles have just got a few too many petals, really. But I don't know if you knew that you can actually, if I take this one out of here, you can actually curl the petals back of a lisianthus so that you can give them that shape. Isn't that just incredible? Beautiful. It doesn't look anything like a lisianthus. Completely transforms it into a different variety in a way. So I won't do it to too many because it'll just take me too long. But let's just peel a few of those back like that. And then taking some over to the other side. So when I trained to be a florist 20 years ago, my floristry teacher called this a continental. So not a parallel design. She called it a continental because it was as if it's growing. I'm going to take that behind the birch and in between that euonymus at the back there. And then I'll just, they're quite sturdy. I'm always quite amazed at how sturdy they are. But that is just so stunning. There, you can see how much that has changed in shape to the cupped flowers on the other stalks. They look a bit like, oh golly, what is that almond flower? They look a bit like that. So because it's in the bleak midwinter, I thought I could mix up my colours. So rather than having it all snowy and white, I thought, well, the Veronica, the purple Veronica, would be a perfect addition. So that kind of inky blue sky that you get on a bleak winter night. And these are beautiful Veronica. They're really, really strong and turgid. So just putting them in with the backdrop of the phormium leaves there. One, two, and three. Always working in odd numbers. And three on the other side. Get you down a bit. So there is the Veronica. Just creating two groups there. Now you're probably thinking, golly, there's a lot of oasis showing there, but do not fear. I have some baubles. Now, the fabulous Eryngium. I love, 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 love this texture of the Eryngium. So I'm actually going to bring some of it out the front because it is so, so fabulous. There is a, one of my favourite flowers is the Eryngium Silver Star, which is the green variety. And I think it's absolutely stunning. Having trained as a textile designer, I really do love my textures. So a good balance of texture. Now then, let's bring you a bit lower down. Texture, form, colour. So you've got all different shaped leaves here. You know, the two types of Synectio are two very different shaped leaves. And the rosemary in its upright small leafed form, and then you've got the conifer with its draping, slightly fluffy form. Now then, let's try and bring you down there. And some to the side here. I've been doing wreath after wreath after wreath these past couple of weeks, and it's been really lovely to experiment with so many different colours and textures. This lovely thistle looks incredible with oranges and cinnamon. Really, really beautiful. Loving that colour coordination. But then I'm also loving this colour coordination as well. So yeah, now let me move these things out of the way. Now to fill up this base here, I've got a whole big mixture of inky blue purple baubles, which I started off wiring them, but found that quite annoying, and it wasn't as effective as the good old glue gun and a kebab stick. So that's what I found to be the best way with the baubles. There we go. So there are the purples, just giving a nice solid groundwork to that arrangement. And then we have lotus flower heads. So another completely contrasting texture, colour, shape. These inries are also incredible. So let's get you going out to the side. Oops, put you up there. Put you out to the side there. And then I had to do a little bit of glittering. So I have a spray PVA glue, which I spray the cones, and then you just sprinkle the glitter onto the cones, and it gives the most beautiful dusting immediately. Oh no, you don't want to go there. So let's put that one in Naturalis there. Trouble is, by the end of this, I am going to look like a glitter ball, I reckon. So nestling down in amongst the foliage are my cones. So the first design, ladies, is my In the Bleak Midwinter. So there we are. And now I'm going to move it across to the other area, which I thought would be easier to see everything from. I don't know if you want to change. Oh, there we are. Thank you, Amanda. So in front of my lovely Christmas tree that I actually made from insulation board, and then I wrapped it with florist's, polyprop ribbon. So that's a great backdrop for, move it that way. There we go. So In the Bleak Mid. winter. Now on to number 2. I've got a box of moss here because the old thing of scissors banging on the surface. So this reindeer moss is just fabulous. It's a nice little cushion for my scissors there. Now I was watching Margaret the other day, so I failed to watch or join in the AGM. But I thought, well, I must watch Margaret and see how she did her demonstration, which was wonderful to watch. So thank you, Margaret. And I saw that she very rightly had added newspaper to her box instead of using loads of plastic. And I'm a lover of, you know, trying to do all things eco in a way, except for, unfortunately, I didn't manage to do this demonstration with a arrangement in water tonight, so I must apologise for that. But I kind of bottled it in a way. Having not demonstrated for a few months, I kind of thought, oh no, I just want to be nice and safe and secure with a bit of Oasis. But of course I could have used Agro-Wool, couldn't I? So maybe I should have thought a little harder about that. But yes, the Agro-Wool is wonderful. It's quite difficult to get stems into sometimes, I think. But I'm just starting off with, so my apologies everybody for using Oasis in every arrangement tonight. I'll try harder next time. But I'm starting off with some spruce. So some lovely blue spruce, which has torn my fingers to pieces doing wreath work, but it's a really lovely spruce. And in fact, I cut some off my Christmas tree because we bought a Christmas tree that was too big. And that was the Pinus nobilis, which was a much softer texture to the blue spruce that I have here. This is, you know, really quite strong. Now, next I have from my garden some Begonia cordifolia. So the nice big round glossy leaves of the Begonia, which I'm going to bring through to the front of this design. So again, a different shape and a different texture. So this nice glossy leaf of the Begonia, a complete and utter contrast to that fluffy, frondy blue spruce. And then I was amazed to see these growing in the garden the other day. So the Arum italicum, fabulous, the most beautiful variegated leaf and such an incredible shape. This elongated, pointed form, which again I'm going to bring, and I'm going to cut that flat. It's got quite a fleshy leaf, so I'm actually going to cut that flat so that you can actually get it into the Oasis more easily. The same as I would a tulip. I would always cut a tulip on the straight. Oh, you're big. So the Arum italicum, so a completely different shape and texture and colour to the Begonia cordifolia there. Actually might bring that up a bit. Give it a little bit more height. That's better. And now for some holly. My holly in the garden hasn't got many berries left. The birds have been enjoying themselves, but just a few berries. Had to have a few bits of holly with some berries. And again, a dark glossy leaf, so the ilex. Yes, the dark glossy leaf of the ilex. Coming out the side with a few of those red berries. So there, can you see how they contrast so well to this blue spruce and the begonia? I mean, the begonia is a glossy leaf, isn't it? But that dark, shiny leaf of the ilex is just fabulous. Now, another one down. I think I am going to go in next with some fabulous eucalyptus. So this is actually commercially grown cinnaria, which they dip in massive vats of gold, but it can still breathe. So again, a different shaped leaf, complete contrast in shape and form. So a nice drooping shape there, arching shape, I should say. And which comes out to the side here. So just to it creates drama. I did a wreath yesterday, a huge wreath. My customer said, I'd like something really contemporary, Emma, totally different to what anybody else will have on their front door. And so I did a huge wreath with peacock feathers. And the peacock feathers have the most incredible colours in them. So that kind of fabulous teal and the green, a forest green, and then on the edges of the feathers they go to a kind of iridescent dusky pink, quite incredible. So I mixed that in with this cinny, and even though I do say so myself, it did look rather nice. So next, I'm really gutted. So I bought these amaryllis days ago. In fact, probably, yeah, on Monday. I bought them on Monday. The white ones that you will see later are opening beautifully. The red ones have decided that they're just going to sit there all nice and tight and not do anything for me. So, amaryllis, the amaryllis, I just need to get behind there. Right. I have some tape, so pop tape, which is a clear pop tape, and I am going to tape the tape around the base of that stem. And I even do this when I put the flowers into water, because it stops them doing that nasty curly whirly thing that they do so well. So let's get you in there. So they would have looked amazing if they had been open. Instead they look like I don't know, a bit of a lost cause in a way. Now the reason that I would have done this in a nice tall upright design but I've kept it smaller because I thought, well, transporting the normal design that I would do is really, really difficult. And so I have scaled it down a little for this demonstration. But the amaryllis, I have taken all the beards off because the beards actually, when they dry out, can sometimes rot the flowers. So as soon as you do get your amaryllis home, do take off the beards so that they don't cause any damage to the flower head. So just taping that again. That Arometallicum doesn't want to do as it's told. There. Okay, so there we are. There are the amaryllis, the Hippeastrum red lion. And now some leucadendron. Leucadendron Safari Sunset. A great stalwart for this time of year. Lovely deep colour. Oh, I don't think I actually explained what the title was of this actual arrangement. So this arrangement is actually Jingle Bells. And you will see why when I move it over to the finishing area. Well, you probably can see if some of you can see the other screen. So the Leucadendron Safari Sunset are coming in a group down here, and the rest of the stems are being used as a vertical in the centre of the design. Excuse me. Right, here we go. So bringing the other couple to the other side and just cutting into my stems here. So cutting in so that you've got another 2 pieces at least. Whenever I do that, I think of my flower teacher. Her name was Erica Hunt. And she would always say, you know, don't throw those stems away. They've been grown and they have that foliage on them for using. So yeah. So I'm always very careful when I cut into a stem so that I can reuse the stems as another form in the arrangement. So that nice strong vertical in the centre there. What are you doing? This one isn't playing ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick, I save all of the sticks from orchid plants and I then put them up the stem of the amaryllis so that it anchors it into the oasis. Right, that's gone in nicely now. I'm going to have to cut the end of that again there. So you can see that's taking shape quite nicely there. And add a few more textures in. Some lovely Pussy Willow, which bends beautifully at this time of year, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to add it in to the vertical in amongst the leucadendron. Those 2 down. Adding them into the back there. Bring that down into the middle. to the front, creating some depth with these stems of pussy willow. Oh, it is so strange not having anybody to talk to. I mean, I'm used to it. I work on my own all the time, but I don't know, when you're I'm so used to talking to my audience. So I'm finding that very strange. Now, let's just put this one in there. So my container for this arrangement is just a small round bowl with half a block of Oasis. And it's a nice bowl, so you can get a really good amount of water in it as well, for keeping the Oasis nice and moist. Now, some glitter balls. Just to bring down into the front of the arrangement here. A couple of these. And then as a complete contrast, I've got the nice shiny red ones as well. So once those flowers have opened, it should look completely different. So hiding that one slightly behind a leaf. And bringing that one underneath at the front there. So that is my finished design. Just wondering, yep. So I'm going to move it across now to the finished demonstration area and place it. So Rudolph and and the reindeers pull a sleigh, but I didn't have enough space for the sleigh for all the presents to go on today. So I've just got the present boxes and a couple of reindeer here. So there we are. There are my red lion Amaryllis and Rudolph with maybe Prancer in the background there. Thank you. So moving on. Oh, so we move on to We Three Kings of Orient Are. And so you can see in my display area, we've got the beginnings of the king's crowns. And I am going to now create the rest of their crowns. So the glitter birch, this gold glitter birch, this betula that's been dipped and glittered, takes ages to put in to this single, half a block of Oasis on a small dish. And then in the middle here, I've actually, I've got some baubles in here, two different types of gold bauble, and underneath it, some moss. So the moss will actually help to stop the Oasis from drying out so quickly. But to add into this, you have to have some jewels, don't you? So the kings were all beautifully covered in fabulous robes. I can imagine they would have, beautiful brocade down their lapels, and their crowns would have had a plethora of jewels on them. So I just thought we've got whites and purples, we've got the reds and the golds. So for the jewels for tonight, we have the lovely bright pink Geminis, which again, I'm going to cut on a slight angle just to help them. They're nice and turgid. They've been soaked. So the way that I prep my Geminis or my Gerbras is that I bring them back, I trim their bottoms, and then I put them in a bucket that is 2/3 of the way up their stem with nice clean water, with some, I don't put any flower food in the water actually, but yeah, and leave them like that for 24 hours. And then after that, I take them out of that water and reduce the water. So put clean water into the bucket, which is only a couple of inches deep. Because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the Geminis or the Gerbras have little tiny hairs going all the way up the stem, and they absorb moisture through those hairs. So giving them a nice long drink when I first get them back from the wholesalers gives them the really great basis for conditioning. Some people use Gerbera pearls, I think they are, but no, I've always done it this way, and they've always, I mean, they are really turgid. I have actually, in the other designs, I have wired them for transport's sake, but these ones I thought, well, these will be fine in here. So all different heights for the jewels. We'll have, and just threading them through this birch. Oh, let's cut you down a bit more. There we are. So a couple more to go. Take you down there. Thread it through the birch. So the birch nicely supports them. And then the last one, coming through at the back there. Shouldn't put the baubles in. There we are. So I always try and get my stems into the oasis at least a couple of centimetres, because the oasis dries obviously from the outside in. And so just getting them down a little bit lower just gives them a greater opportunity to have a water source for a longer length of time. Just want you to go down a bit. There we go. Now, a little bit more commercially grown foliage, I apologise. This is Skimmia. So whether it's Skimmia rubella or Skimmia japonica, I really don't know, but it's Skimmia rose gold now. And again, a contrast in texture, nice, interesting shape. And a contrast to those perfectly spherical, round gerbera, Gemini heads, I should say. So just adding them in towards the base of the crown, using the leaves at the base there. So again, using that leaf. Oh, you're nice and tall. Let's put you in there. Yeah, I said about those baubles, didn't I? I shouldn't have put them in. Should have put them in at the end. Oh well, there we go. So these last couple of bits of skimmia in at different heights. Oh, I've been glittered. Now some pinus. So this lovely soft pine. It's so lovely and delicate. Moves beautifully. You could, if you are wanting to use one that people may have in their garden, you could use a Scotch pine as a alternative. This is, well, the wholesalers call it Pinus nobilis. So just adding this pine to the bottom here. So a completely different texture against the shine of the skimmia. Oh, you're not going to go in like that. Oops. So cutting in between the fronds so that you're getting more for your money out of the Pinus nobilis. So as you can see, I'm just cutting into it in there so that you're getting so many more pieces. Take those stems off. It's a bit like a loo brush in a way, isn't it? Or should I say a toilet brush, not a loo brush. I maybe should have done this beforehand rather than the birch. Going as quickly as I can. I hope wherever you are nice, you are safe, you're staying well, all of you. It's so important that we all stay as well as we possibly can. Making sure that our loved ones are safe and well as well. Golly. Roll on the vaccine, I say. Roll on the vaccine. So, sorry, this is a bit tedious, this bit. Cutting into it again. So my receptacles are that my crowns are going to, that are sitting on, are actually upturned conical vases. And in amongst the, well, in the upturned vase, I have put all different coloured voils, just to kind of give them all a bit of a different look. So to make it stand up there, or to make it flow down the vase, I stuck a bit of Oasis fix in the base of the vase, and then with one of the orchid sticks that I keep, I then stuck the voil into the bottom of the vase, and so you can see the voil throughout the vase. Now I'm going to, which one shall I put you on? I think you could go on the orange because of the skimmier. So he's going to sit in there like that. And then we have a couple more. So the differences of the gerberas, because I bought a wrap of Geminis, I've actually sprayed these ones with a gold spray. And so he's going to go on there. And then, as you can see, I wired these ones so that you can actually move them around a bit. And then the final one, they had a little bit of the glitter sprayed, well, the glue sprayed onto the gerbera and then sprinkled with a bit of glitter. So there we are. There's the three kings. We three kings of Orient are. Thank you very much. I can see you all clapping. So, last but by no means least, we are on to Silent Night, Holy Night. Oh, Silent Night. Just do a little bit of housekeeping. I can't work in a mess. I really can't work in a mess, and I find it really quite disturbing to work in a mess. So where is that piece of Oasis? Here we go. So I've got a double tray here. And the Oasis, again, as I did with in the Bleak Midwinter, I've cut the Oasis in half so that you've got enough space to be able to water your arrangement. And then I've added a third of, well, no, probably a third of a block onto the top here, because I just need a little bit more support for the stems that are going to go into the centre of this arrangement. So this arrangement, as I said, is Silent Night, Holy Night. Silent Night, Holy Night. Yes, that's right, isn't it? Silent Night, Holy Night. So to start off, as I said, I've been making wreaths, and the berries on the hedera are incredible this year. I think we had a bumper year for fruit, didn't we? And now we're having a bumper year for berries. And I love these deep, deep, dark blue berries of the hedera. They're perfect in a wreath as a contrast to the spruce. Now, I'm just going to add this around my base. Covering up your Oasis, always important. Nobody ever wants a bare bottom. You should never ever see the mechanics of your arrangement. And they're the one thing that you really want to know about, aren't they? I always, when I see a demonstrator, or yeah, I always want to understand their mechanics, because it's so important. If your mechanics aren't right, then the whole thing can fall apart, can't it? But so we've just got this header. Oh, lovely berries, really lovely berries. I should take so trying to cover up the black base of the tray with this header. I always find when I'm doing wedding work, I really need to kind of lift it up there, because if you're doing this, say, as a ceremony table arrangement or an arrangement for a top table, you need to kind of look at it like that so that you can see the base, because so often we forget about the angle at which the people in the room will actually see it. Now, I meant to find out about this. This is from my mum's garden, and last year she had it in a hanging basket, and she kept it in a pot, and I said, oh, I wonder if we can plant that in the garden. And so we did, and it has gone absolutely crazy. So it's this beautiful pale green, slightly spongy leaf. Excuse me. And again, a bit like the Sinecchio leaves, so that, you know, kind of lovely furry leaf, but fabulous arching stems, and it's just grown throughout the border up through other plants. And so if you do have it in a hanging basket next year, don't throw it away at the end of the season. Plant it in the garden, and it will grow to its heart's content. And I don't think I can use that bit. I'll use this bit. Thank you. Just got a lovely assistant who has joined me in the demonstrating area, who's even bought me a glass of wine, which I shall enjoy when I've finished. So creating a strong vertical there, and now bringing a couple more pieces out to the side. More. I put it in the wrong position in my box, but here we go. We'll take that off there. So creating some extra length with these stems. So going as long outwards as I am upwards. Yes, so your length should be as long as your height with an arrangement such as this. Now for some more height. I have some I have a nice strong dogwood stems here. So Alba, is it Alba? Cornus Alba. Just creating that extra strong vertical. So did you know that you can so easily propagate the cornus, the dogwood, by, take that out of there, cutting. So below a knot there, you cut on the straight, and above a nice strong bud, so I would probably cut it there on the diagonal so that water flows off it. You cut it there and you stick it in the ground and it roots. And so you can have so many cornus plants so very easily. But one thing I would say is don't trim them for a couple of years. So leave them to grow for a couple of years and then cut them back to about 12 inches, about a foot, and you'll have glorious multi-stemmed cornus plants at no extra cost to yourselves. So those cornus stems creating a nice strong upright there. Putting that through there and that through there. I think I'll use that last piece. And next, I feel that I need to put these in. So I said I had the red ones since Monday. I've also had these white amaryllis since Monday, and how different do they look to the red lions? Quite infuriating, but you just never know, do you, how something is going to perform. I once did a wedding which was all oriental lilies, and I was there for days before the wedding with the heating on full, and at the last minute hair dryers blowing just to get the lilies out, and I got enough out so it looked great, but of course because it had had all of that direct heat, all of those lily heads had that direct heat on them in the run up to the wedding, they just didn't last much longer than the day of the wedding. So I'm going to stick a stem up its bottom because, so these are the sticks from the orchid plants. The weight of the flowers when they all open are so heavy that I always, when I'm using the amaryllis flowers at a height, I always put a orchid stick up it, just to support or help that stem, because otherwise the weight of the flowers just causes the stem to just bend, and then, you know, they're useless, they're absolutely useless, which is so sad. Now, here we go. Now, I wasn't going to put these in my box, no way, because they're just too delicate, far too delicate. Let's cut in there. So again, I am taping the ends, using my tape to tape the ends round like that, just to help them go into the oasis And then to give extra support, I take another stick. You could use bamboo from the garden. So I'm going to give him some height there. Wow. So now you can understand why I put that extra brick in the middle there, just to give it a bit of extra support. Put that to the side. And let's have you. So number 3, cut him about there. Tape it again. And stick a stick up its bum. Now, amaryllis should last, I think, a good 10 days in oasis. Easily. And if you look after them well, they should last a good couple of weeks. But in water, of course, they'll last 3 weeks at least. But even in water, I sometimes, if it's not a terribly tall glass vase, I tend to put a stick up up inside, because they just need that extra bit of support. Now, excuse me, but it's really important. I just have a glass of wine just to relieve that tickle. Now, I know if you were here now with me, you would go, oh, because this cymbidium is just incredible. And whenever I do a demonstration and you start cutting the cymbidium, everybody just kind of squeals. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to cut quite a few off. But I am going to use them. So it's not as if I'm not going to use them. But they can sometimes, you can't actually see the shape because there are so many flowers on here. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a haircut so that you can actually see those flowers so much better. And then I'm going to cut him there. Oh, and I might cut him. Needs to go a bit lower. That there. So he's just going to tuck under there. Wow. I think I need to take that away now. How incredible is that cymbidium orchid? So contrast in shape to the amaryllis flowers. A slight contrast in colour, but not massive. I'm going to move those to the side. And then add in, I just needed to get him in because he's quite big. So I've got Kermit, the good old spray chrysanth. Some people call him Froggy, I call him Kermit. And I cut into them so that you get, again, more for your money. But I want to bring Kermit down so that he acts like a foliage. Creating a little bit of depth at the front here. So again, cutting into it. I'll group him there. So well down into the oasis. And then I might take these leaves off. And then just to give a little bit of height, just in here. There, so you can see how you can use those stems when you cut into them. So I'm going to do the same with my last chrysanthemum. Oops. So cutting into it there, I'm actually going to cut him a little bit shorter. Ooh. And so have brought him down to the front. And then adding those as a foliage, really. Now, leucadendron, so a second type of leucadendron. So these are native to South Africa. I can't remember the variety of this one though. Safari Sunset is the one that's always so well known. But this one, it sometimes has beautiful cones in the middle, but this one doesn't. No, nothing in the middle at all. So bringing that one down to create a bit of background there. Slotting it in amongst the orchid. And then I'm going to bring him down. And again, creating a little bit of depth and width to the arrangement. And the same out to the other side. So to give a little bit of extra width, because you've got that height, so you need that width. Now, adding that in there. Now I want to bring in all of the other beautiful cymbidiums. Can't waste one at all. They are far, far too beautiful. And I also have some more amaryllis, which I'm going to cut very short. I think I was inspired by Janet James's mantelpiece Advent arrangement to use the amaryllis so low down. And because they've got such huge heads, they are absolutely perfect for bringing in wow. So bringing these orchids out to the front here. Contrasting with the huge flowers of the amaryllis. And one last flower in there. There we are. And then to make it just that little bit more Christmassy, we've got some glitter apples. So a contrast in texture, shape and form, nestling in amongst these beautiful Cymbidium orchids. And some snowballs, which are actual polystyrene baubles that I've just literally stuck a skewer into. So again, a different texture. Carrying on that horizontal line. Detail. Oh dear, I am a bit of a detail fanatic. Maybe my wreath making has made me even worse, I don't know. Oh, you can actually support that head a little for me. There we go. So just a few more and I'm nearly done. There are two different sizes of the glitter apples, just to give a bit of a change in texture. Nearly done, nearly done. Just a couple of white ones out the front here and in there. So, ladies, I feel really honoured to be doing the Christmas demonstration for South Midlands Area NAFAS. I really hope you've enjoyed my demonstration. Thank you for watching. Have the most glorious Christmas. Stay safe, everybody, please. And thank you. Thank you very much indeed. I'll just add this to the others. So Silent Night, Holy Night. There we are. Thank you. Stay well, everybody. Bye-bye.